3. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not be in want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He restores my soul. He guides me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. And a reading from Romans. No, in all of these things, we are more than conquerors through him who loved us. For I am convinced that neither death nor life, neither angels nor demons, neither the present nor the future, nor any powers, neither height nor depth, nor anything else in all of creation will be able to separate us from the love of God that is in Christ Jesus, our Lord. Right now, I'd like to invite Dr. Roger Westby and the Wagner College Choir to sing.
The African Americans enslaved in our country heard the scriptures, and they heard about the promised land that lay across the river, and this became a major symbol for them. The deep river, the River Jordan, crossing to the other side, the promised land, was both the ultimate transcendent journey to the afterlife, and it was also the Underground Railroad code for make sure you cross the Ohio River before you let your guard down. In all these cases, it really speaks of ultimate liberation, whether on this sphere or the ultimate liberation in an afterlife. So we would like to sing for you Deep River. This is an arrangement that I dedicated some years ago to our late chaplain, Lyle Gutu, who also perished because of an automobile accident. And we dedicate this to RJ. We just found out about this service yesterday, and we're singing this at this point of the program because it seemed to be the best way to get everybody here and available. Some will not be able to stay, and we mean absolutely no disrespect by that, but we just simply need to go about what we need to do. So, Deep River.
Thank you, Dr. Wesley and the choir. Welcome everyone to this sad, important service in honor of RJ. For those of you who don't know, the young man who began the ceremony today is our new pastor at Wagner College, James Smith, who graduated in the class of 2005. For those of you who are unfamiliar with James, I hope you get to know him. And his sister, for all those in nursing, should know that his sister, Julie, graduated in the nursing program as an undergraduate and later as a graduate student. So he has deep meaning himself for being here. Well, thank you all for what a wonderful turnout, for what will be in our hearts, a wonderful, wonderful young man. I did not know him personally until this horrible tragedy occurred. And the more I investigated, the more I talked to his mom and to his relatives, and many of whom are here in the front, and some of you, I began to appreciate what a fine person and what a wonderful representative of Wagner College and the nursing program that RJ is and was. So my first reactions were the horror, the brutality and unfairness of the accident, and the way it happened to whom it happened to. And so my first reaction to you is to read this poem. I want to make a few more remarks. It's a poem by W.H. Auden, and he wrote it after he lost someone he loved deeply. And this was my first reaction to hearing about this and learning about him. So it's called Funeral Blues. Stop all the clocks, cut off the telephone, prevent the dog from barking with a juicy bone, silence the pianos, and with muffled drum, bring out the coffin, let the mourners come. Let airplanes circle moaning overhead, scribbling on the sky the message, he is dead. Put crepe bows round the white necks of the public doves. Let the traffic policemen wear black cotton gloves. He was my north, my south, my east and west. My working week and my Sunday rest. My noon, my midnight, my talk, my song. I thought that love would last forever. I was wrong. Their stars are not wanted now. Put out every one. Pack up the moon and dismantle the sun. Pour away the ocean and sweep up the woods, for nothing can ever come to any good. And that's the feeling I'm sure all of us had when we heard this news. And it's inescapable reality that he's no longer with us. But everything I've learned about him was that he loved this program, this nursing program. He loved this community and the school for the short time he was here. His mom wanted to point this out to me in great detail, and I spoke with her on the phone yesterday. And everything I've learned about him in terms of his character, the way he cared about his patients, working in a nursing home, the way he worked with his fellow students, was all about goodness. Was all about the very best of who we are and what we can become. And so I want you to keep that in your hearts, and when you think about RJ, as much as we're saddened, as much as we want to block out the moon and the sun, I want you to remember what he was and who he is for us. When I lost my mom in a long time ago, 2001 actually, I was fairly stoic about it. She had a good life, but she died of a heart attack suddenly. And a lot of folks came up to me over the course of several weeks to tell me how badly they felt for the family and for myself and others. And you know, when you're in this situation, as I'm sure this family is, it just goes right over you. And you try to deal with it as best you can, but you're not quite there yet. But one professor, Dr. Armani Murthy, who's Hindu, came to see me in my office. And I was the provost at the time. And I thought, okay, she's going to come to ask me for something for the biology department. But she came in, she closed the door, and she said, I'm here to talk to you about your mom. I thought, here we go again, another condolence thing. And she said, you have your mother's smile. And I said, yeah. She said, I'm not telling you, Richard, that you smile like your mother. I'm telling you that you have your mother's smile. And it gave me the most comfort, I have to tell you, because it allowed me to accept that she died. And that she was with me, she's inside of me in some way. That a lot of who she is and who I am. And I think if you loved RJ and you loved who he is and what he stood for, that's how I think you have to be with him. He's part of you in some way. Find some peace. His smile, his goodness, his caring, his work ethic, and embrace that and make that part of you. And every time, I'm particularly talking to those in nursing and PA and so on and so forth, every time you're with a patient and you want to remember him, you bring that out. You bring out the best. He's with you in that way. He's with you at that bedside or in that operating room or emergency room or nursing home or wherever you may be, taking care of another. And that's the best I can say about him, is that we will keep him close to us in that way. The family has requested that instead of flowers and the like, that we establish a scholarship in RJ's name. So we will be doing that, and we will take all donations from families and what have you, and we'll go about doing that business over the next year. But I can only say how sorry I am to the family. I wish I had spent more time with him in person to know him and feel his presence. He just sounded, and obviously was, a remarkable human being. We bring students here to this campus because we have great affection for who they are, what they can be. The students who graduated before them, who they are, what they have become. We don't bring students here so they don't graduate because they pass away. It's a horribly tragic moment for all of us, and we can only say to the family that we love you and embrace you.
We now have a song that was written and dedicated to RJ.
Alive tonight, your heart beats strong in all of ours. And now your life, your love, your words are never lost. In a story barely told, there's a light that can't be told, and a moment that forever changed the world. Forever changed our world. You are more than just a distant thought or memory. Your presence is as real as it will ever be. In the morning when you rise, keeping watch on us through skies, and you'll know that you're forever on our minds. Forever on our minds. We will meet again, this is one thing I know for sure. Whether here or there, your life will shine forevermore. And until that day we meet, pray the Lord our soul to keep, and shower you with everlasting peace. Everlasting peace. You're alive.
I now invite those friends of RJ to come up and speak.
Good evening. For those of you that don't know me, I had the privilege of being one of RJ's nursing instructors. My name is Jane Zafazio, and it brings me great sadness to stand before all of you as we grieve the loss of a special young man, Ronald Tillman. RJ has touched all of our lives, and this evening his loss brings us together. His loss is so profound for his parents and family that is almost untouchable, and I ask that you pray for them, and that our prayers and faith will be their strength during this most difficult time. We must also support each other through this great tragedy, and remember that Ronald has not only touched all of us in this room. Ronald's life has meaning to those who knew him in the Wagner community, and we stand here remembering what was so very, very special about him. In the last few short months, Ronald has touched the lives of not only us, but also our patients in many ways. He cared for geriatric patients at Wagner Nursing Home, and he provided health education about breast cancer awareness and early detection to several young women learning English as a second language at the Crossroads Foundation in Port Richmond. And just last week at Staten Island University Hospital, he cared for a critically ill patient who was oxygen dependent and in renal failure. I ask all of the nursing students to pause and reflect upon the lives he touched. Although RJ will not be here to care for his patients, I know that all of you will continue to touch the lives of your patients, and perhaps a few more in RJ's memory. Before I end, like Dr. Garashi, I would also like to read a poem. When I first read this, I paused and thought it might be fitting for tonight. And then I noticed the poet's name was Ron T. Although our Ron T did not write it, perhaps it was intended for me to share. The Broken Chain. We little knew the day that God was going to call your name. In life we loved you dearly, in death we do the same. It broke our hearts to lose you, but in God we put our trust. In times as difficult as this, faith is such a must. You left us peaceful memories, your love is still our guide. And though we cannot see you, you are always at our side. Our family chain is broken, and nothing seems the same. But as God calls us one by one, the chain will link again. By Ron Tranmer. I hope this helps each of you during your time of grief, and I'm not sure what else I can say to comfort you or to take away the pain, but perhaps when you feel sadness, you will think about Ronald Tillman, and although he is not here, we shall remember that RJ is the link that brings us together in his memory. I would like to invite Tara Pisano up to speak. She's the class president of Ronald's cohort, the second degree nursing group.
On behalf of the Evelyn Spiro School of Nursing second degree class of 2012, as well as all of the student nurses here at Wagner, we would like to thank you for coming to remember one of our own. It truly means a lot to this program to know that we have the support of the entire Wagner College community through this difficult time. For those of you who knew RJ, your lives have greatly been enriched by a spirit that truly exemplified what it meant to not only be a great nurse, but also a loyal and dear friend. A friend that could be relied on to lend a hand for help, an ear to listen, or a shoulder to cry on. For those of you who did not have the pleasure of knowing RJ, all you need to know is his smiling face. A face that was determined and passionate to carry out his role in serving his community to the best of his abilities. RJ's kind nature made him approachable and unforgettable to all those who came to know him. RJ possessed all of the qualities of a student nurse that would make Wagner proud to call him one of their own. Kindness, compassion, patience, and understanding are just some of the characteristics that he showed, not only in his clinical experiences with patients, but in his everyday life as well. His determination and passion to be the best nurse he could be was evident from his first day of classes. Nursing was his calling, and he was on his way to be one of the greats. On behalf of our nursing class, or should I say our nursing family, we can only hope that the past, present, and future nurses continue to celebrate the life and memory of Ronald Tillman through their actions, studies, and future endeavors. We hope that all nursing students will approach this program the same way he did, with determination, pride, kindness, and most importantly, a smile. We will not forget what RJ stood for, and I can promise you that each and every one of you sitting here in front of me will be better nursing students and future nurses for having crossed paths with RJ. His spirit will live on through all of us who strive to be the best nurses and people that we can be. And I think if RJ was here today, this is what he would want. He would want us all to live the dream that he envisioned for himself, to help others as much as possible. Before I pass on to the next speaker, I found a quote today that I thought reminded all of us of RJ. It's by Erin Petterill. She's a registered nurse, and she was quoted in the RN Modern Medicine magazine. We often think of nursing as giving meds on time, checking an x-ray to see if the doctor needs to be called, or taking admission at 2 a.m., all with a smile on our faces. Too often we forget all of the other things that make our job what it truly is, caring and having a desire to make a difference. I'm now going to call up Victoria Sangemino. She's the co-president of the class, and she's going to read something that she wrote.
168 days. I guess something has to be said for someone who could create such an impact on your life in 168 days. Something everyone could agree on that encountered RJ was that he's had such an infectious smile. Whether he was an hour late for an exam or just genuinely interested in finding out what you had done the past weekend, there was always a smile on that face. Caring, kind, compassionate, and genuine are some great words to describe RJ. But one word that has been used a lot these past 2 days is family. I think my classmates would choose that word to describe him best. Sunday night, we lost a member of our family, but I know we are all thankful for the time he spent with us. RJ, you will be so deeply missed and hold a special place in our heart. Don't forget to smile down on us in December. We will be smiling back up at you.
We're now going to call up Adam Gerber. He used to be one of our classmates in the nursing program, and he was also very good friends with RJ.
Hi, I'm Adam Gerber. I was in the nursing program with Wagner, with RJ last semester. I'm very privileged to be able to speak with you today. Thank you. I knew I wanted to talk. I didn't really know what I wanted to say today. So I just went today. What I usually do for Valentine's Day, I have a ritual. I usually go out to Montauk and just spend all day walking along the beach next to the ocean. I wasn't able to make it out to Montauk today. I stayed on Staten Island and I walked down the beach for hours, and RJ was there too. So I was walking on the beaches on Staten Island today, just enjoying the beautiful scenery and talking with the people I met. I met a woman there. She didn't know RJ, but I just spoke about RJ, and she was telling me what I should talk that I should talk about what an angel he was, and we all know what an angel he was. RJ had also told me I got to spend some time with him. We lucky enough to go running together a few times around here, Silver Lake Park, Clove Lakes Park, in the Greenbelt. We went for a run in the Greenbelt, I think it was last month, up to Moses Mountain in High Rock Park, and RJ really loved it. He said it was his favorite run he had been on. I'm very glad I got to share that experience with him. But he had told me he has some Native American ancestry in his heritage, and that's along the lines of my spirituality. And I believe that RJ is with the spirits now. Last night, I went to Silver Lake Park, down the hill, and watched the sunset. Sun was setting over the lake. I just spoke to RJ like he was present there, watching the sunset with me. Hey, man. I just talked with him a little bit and thanked him for everything, being in our lives. And today, down at the beach, it was such a beautiful, sunny Valentine's Day. The glimmer of the sun out on the endless water made me smile from ear to ear. And I felt RJ's smile within me, that smile. We all know. He was there with me today too. He's there with the spirits in a better place. Last thing I just want to share, this is a Facebook conversation that I had with RJ. This is the last Facebook conversation I had with him. And this is just RJ talking, just everyday conversation. Although with RJ it was never everyday conversation. But this is just RJ talking. These are his words I want to share with you. He said, "There was a single mom of 4 kids at the hospital yesterday. The woman started crying, and I don't know how she can take care of all those kids. She was so sweet, man. I never really knew how much I love people and caring for them." He also said, "Patients are my love." We all know what an inspiring person RJ was. He lived his dreams, inspired us to. And he said, just speaking, Yeah, just make every day a day that works toward your dream, and there are no limits. The dream grows as you chase it. You live on in all of our dreams, RJ. We love you and miss you. Peace out. Thank you.
I'd now like to invite RJ's Uncle Tony up to speak.
Actually, I wish I was RJ's uncle. I am his aunt's brother-in-law, Jane. Met him a few times. But I have to tell you a few things while I've been sitting here. First, I am completely amazed in a wonderful way at how Dr. Warashi and everybody else that works with him has put this wonderful tribute together in such a short period of time. That's not an easy thing to do. And I know it's because RJ was such a valuable human being to so many of you. I wish I had known him the way maybe Adam knew him, or some others here. But to Adam, he is in the spirit world, so you don't have to worry about that. I would like to personally express my gratitude to everybody who is here today, and on behalf of RJ's mom and his family, for your presence here. And I'm sure there are other things you were possibly able to do. It is a testament to both you and to RJ, and shows clearly that just as there are those that precipitated this death, there are more people like you and RJ. As for his being in the nursing program, I just want to give a personal shout out to the nurses and the people in that program. When my son was born 24 years ago at Lutheran in Brooklyn, it was the head nurse that saved his life while my wife was giving birth. It wasn't the doctor. So I am personally a big fan of nurses. I think you work harder than doctors anyway, but that's my own personal belief. And I would like to read a poem in RJ's honor. I wish I could tell you I wrote it. I used to be a high school English teacher, so I've written a few things, but this isn't one of them. It's by Linda Ellis. It's called How Do You Live Your Dash? But I've adopted the poem for many years now. And this is for RJ. I read of a man who stood to speak at the funeral of a friend. He referred to the dates on his tombstone from the beginning to the end. He noted that first came his date of birth and spoke the following date with tears. But he said what mattered most of all was the dash between those years. For that dash represents all the time that he spent alive on earth. And now only those who loved him know what that little line is worth. For it matters not how much we own, the cars, the house, the cash. What matters is how we live and love and how we spend our dash. So think about this long and hard. Are there things you'd like to change? For you never know how much time is left that can still be rearranged. If we could just slow down enough to consider what's true and real, and always try to understand the way other people feel. And be less quick to anger, and show appreciation more, and love the people in our lives like we've never loved before. If we treat each other with respect, and more often wear a smile, remembering that this special dash may only last a little while. So when your eulogy is being read, with your life's actions to rehash, would you be proud of the things they say about how you spent your dash? In the little time I knew RJ, I'm very proud to have known this young man. Thank you.
In your programs, you see that the hymn Amazing Grace has been printed. I'm pretty sure most of us know that, so I invite us to sing a closing song to RJ. After that song, I invite everybody here. We have carnations in the front if you'd like to place them on the table in memory and in honor of RJ. After that, I ask that we leave in silence as we make our way over to the Union Atrium for a reception in his honor. And if you could please stand. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound.
Congratulations.